Thank you so much for joining us. You are watching CNBC Africa. Travel and tourism, Indaba, all the way in KZN. And we're looking forward to having an awesome conversation today. We're focusing on township and rural travel and tourism and the economy, and how this particular conference is not only bringing KZN together to collaborate, it's bringing the whole of South Africa, but it is also an intercontinental event, bringing in everybody who's operating to collaborate and to work together in travel and tourism. I've got a fantastic panel lined up, and I'm looking forward to them just giving us a quick overview of who they are and what the impact is that they are already having and meaning to have in the industry. And starting off with Bronwyn. Bronwyn, thank you so much for joining us. This is Bronwyn Oret. Give us an overview, Bronwyn, of your role in this industry.
Thank you, Zanele. My name is Bronwyn Oret. I'm the Chief Quality Assurance Officer for South African Tourism, responsible for tourist experience and the Tourism Grading Council of South Africa. Our primary focus here is to ensure that we drive economic growth of South Africa and the tourism sector. And it's really, really important that we bring everyone together, not only from South Africa, from the rest of the continent, and bring the world to South Africa, to the third largest trade show in the world.
Thank you, Bronwyn. Sean Modise from Indaba, give us an overview.
Thank you so much. The name is Sean Modise. I'm the Acting Chief Executive Officer for an entity called the Northern Cape Economic Development Trade Investment Promotion Agency, net in short, which is actually the helping hand. So from our side, what is pertinent is that we've integrated sort of tourism into the entity, and the net idea is to really amplify how we really position the province, and using this particular platform as a gateway to be able to amplify sort of the 9 bespoke offerings from a route perspective, and how that can be sort of entrenched into the offer. Obviously looking at the natural endowments in the province, how do we integrate that into what tourism would actually leverage in terms of how we have this beautiful sort of scenery within the province. The different districts have different offerings, as it were. And for us, such a platform is quite a good gateway to be able to promote. Thanks.
And the work that we're going to have today, I think, is critical for our next guest as well, is lifting up all the communities, but then also creating a value chain. But we have Carol with us today to showcase what one of the establishments looks like. Carol, please go ahead. Carol Matupi from Tiberi.
Correct. Thank you so much. I'm Carol Maitufi, the founder of an establishment based in the heart of the Royal Bafokeng village in Phokeng. It's about 2 hours drive from Johannesburg. And the establishment is 5-star graded, thanks to the Tourism Grading Council of South Africa. And we offer the South Africans, the world, a true, authentic Royal Bafokeng village tourism and hospitality.
Thank you, Carol. You get a round of applause because there's no easy feat to do a 5-star. So well done. Tato, please take it away from Satu Village.
Good day, colleagues. My name is Tato Mutupin. Let me firstly greet everyone in the audience and everyone watching online. Goeiemorgen, good day, dumelang, sanbonan. You know, colleagues, in South Africa, it's very important that we retain our culture of hospitality, and a greeting to us is very important because it speaks to you as an individual and it shows that we acknowledge you. My role in Satovito, I'm the national coordinator of the Township and Village Tourism Development Association. Our role is to develop the Township and Village Tourism value chain, promote and advocate for it, assist businesses in access to finance, access to information and development. That's roughly what we do in a nutshell, and we are here to always make sure that we facilitate economic inclusion or tourism economic inclusion of the marginalized communities around within the townships and villages of the sector.
And whilst you're dealing with the township and the villages, it is not to say that it is not a space that you are looking at building quality, that you are not looking at the tourist experience. But give us an overview, Brian. We can start with you around how do you go about ensuring that you're lifting up the experience of a tourist coming in to this particular part of the tourism economy?
So Zanele, as the Grading Council of South Africa, we run the very popular 1 to 5 star program against different categories, from formal accommodation to self-catering, guest houses, backpacking, camping, hostels, everything. But possibly one of our most exciting programs is a program called Basic Quality Verification. Now, this program recognizes homestays in our villages, towns, and small dorpies. And why this is so critical to us is because that's where authentic experiences lie. And we have had an incredibly successful program. Last year, we graduated 152 properties as basic quality verified from KZN. We're currently rolling out into Gauteng, and we've had about 8 or so products graduating to formally graded properties. And that is such a fantastic achievement because we are committed to the growth of our villages, towns, and small dorpies and the exceptional experiences, unique, authentic, people-oriented experiences on the ground.
And this is also part of linking just back to the economy, so how, Sean, in your mind, are you linking this experience part to the impact that will have from an economic point of view, from a localized point of view?
No, thanks for that. I think for us it's relatively important that obviously from an essence of integrating the vast areas that we have to sort of, if you like, traverse in the province, it's quite interesting that we're about the size of Germany as a province, and that gives you sort of a different authentic experience, if you like, and the integration with the respective activities that resonate with our various sort of townships and the if you like, the heritage in each of the corners of the province, because we have 5 different districts, and as we sort of try to make sure that we create these connecting dots with each and every experience that you find. And we have these 9 different routes that we consistently trying to promote and ensure that it creates a circular sort of economic, if you like, activity that encapsulates and enhances the participation by SMMEs and how that rand would be then stretched. So when you are host to people, you want to make sure that they are able to have an authentic experience, as it were. And by so saying, that, if you like, announces a different advent of how you will be able to position the tourism offer, as it were.
And I think we're speaking a lot around the authentic experience and then the linking of all of that. And then, Carol, you've got this establishment that's sitting, and it's a 5-star establishment. How have you found the journey towards verification and really positioning yourself to operate at the upper parts of the tourist experience within your establishment?
I must say, I had no tourism experience when I got into this field. And it was tough, I must say. And how I found myself in the space was by one day we had a wedding in Bloemfontein, not in Bloem itself, in one of the villages there. And we couldn't find accommodation where we were going to attend the wedding. And we had to stay in town. And that experience got me very upset that, you want to find accommodation close to where you are going. We didn't want to travel, wake up very early to go to where we were attending the wedding. And I said to my husband, you know what, there's an opportunity for us to start a business. And he comes from Phokeng. I got married that side. And I said, we've got a place, we've got everything. Let's make sure that when people come to weddings, when people go for funerals, they've got a decent place where they can sleep. And I felt the first place to start was to ensure that I read about grading. Because if you're not graded, you're not set internationally. People need reference. And that's what Tourism Grading Council of South Africa provides. And I found their website very, very user-friendly. So it had all the specifications, and I was targeting to be a 4-star. That was my target. And I went in, out, read everything, and did everything by the book as to what it is that they look for them to give you a 4-star grading. I built everything myself with no knowledge of hospitality other than traveling, what I've seen and experienced during the traveling. And that's where I found myself. And yes, that's how I got to where I am. And when they came out, they gave me a 5-star. And I was like, wow, thank you.
Oh, wow. But it speaks to the accessibility of job creation, of business creation within the tourism sector. And I'm hoping that there are lots more Carols, because to be able to set yourself up, I'm not saying it was easy, Carol, but you could do it without too many major milestones. Are we seeing people within the townships showcasing what they can do? And are we seeing job creation happening?
Yes, there's something exciting about this country is that the business people or the entrepreneurs in the townships and villages are taking full responsibility of themselves, but they are also creating a lot of positive impact within their communities. There's a huge demand for culture tourism, which means that there's now a huge opportunity for township and village tourism businesses to actually grow. We've seen a lot of businesses surviving lockdown and COVID, and they are still there. They are still creating employment right now. There's a lot of carols here. Funny how there's another carol I know from Tenyeko Kruger Lodge who's also employing people. Another Mom Grace from Limpopo who's also employing people. And these are passionate females, passionate males that are creating employment, that are, contributing significantly in the tourism sector. What Satovito now aims to do is to quantify our economic contribution in the sector. So we are now developing systems to make sure that we are able to tell you how much does the township and village tourism sector contribute to the economy. But I can definitely tell you that we are contributing a lot in terms of job creation. Not everybody is employed in Durban. Not everybody is employed in the cities, And the tourism sector, more especially from the sector that we represent, is actually creating a lot of job opportunities in the townships. From your Vilagazi streets, where you've got car guards, you've got restaurants, you've got tour operators, and so forth, attracting people from across the world. And coming into these townships and so forth. So you can imagine the economic impact that the sector has. We are now, like I said, in a position where we will be now quantifying what is it and how much is our contribution to the economy. But just generally, there's a lot of positive work that the township and village tourism business people are doing in sustaining the sector, just like Carol is doing, just like many of our other associates within the space.
I've got so many questions to ask about the data and what that means, but I want to speak to sustainability. And Brian, I'd love for you to lean into a little bit of historically. What is the focus of sustainability? And the other question I don't want to lose is, so who's looking for this authentic experience? Today we're surrounded by people from all across the continent. So who's coming in and wanting to see the real African experience? Not that the city is not real, but they really want to go to where the majority of the people are. Who's asking for this?
Zanele, we appeal to 24 different source markets around the world. South Africa is a very, very unique destination. Our top international market is the US, followed by the UK and Europe. We're opening up to India and China. And we're seeing big positive moves in that regard. But very importantly, we're attracting our fellow Africans from the continent. And I think our authentic experiences are really what differentiates us. Of course, we have the most beautiful endemic landscape. And we are so blessed because no other country can speak to our natural heritage in the same way. However, we have X factor. Zanele, our X factors are people. So when you come and you meet someone who's authentic from a different part of South Africa and share a part of what they do, share their food. Last night we had a welcome event here at Africa's Travel Indaba where we delighted our delegates with food from the city of Durban, which is different to the food from Johannesburg and different to the food from Cape Town. And I think we have got so many unique experiences to share and so much of our culture to share. And I think that is what sets us apart, is that you can be delighted by so many different things in South Africa, which is not generic, it's not one size fits all, and it really is truly authentic.
And and Sean made an example with Germany. You shouldn't have done that because, I mean, the food in Germany, the people in Germany, nothing really begins to compare with what Bronwyn has outlined. But you also working from a Northern Cape perspective on areas that we just don't even know we have. There's so many smaller experiences along the coastline. You know, how are you going to win the battle of lifting up all these heritage sites and these spaces of conversation, going forward? I think it's a tough job.
Yes, it is a daunting task. Now that you mentioned, the Northern Cape also boasts about 330 kilometers of coastline. That gives you another competitive advantage, I think, from the side of tourism and the various sort of groupings of people that you find in each pocket or corner of the province gives you a very authentic experience. And I must say, I think people from the province also in different corners also give you a different experience in terms of the food they offer, the type of sort of cultural heritage that they embody, as well as how you sort of integrate into each of these communities. And the one thing that I think for us is that is a big sell-off is anywhere you find yourself in the province, it feels like home. So that becomes sort of the backbone of the strategy around how best we can go forward in relation to how we then position the province from a tourism perspective. And obviously there's certain elements that give us a bit of an edge. Obviously in the Sutherland area you'll find salt, as well as the SKA in Carnarvon, or the Big Hole in Kimberley, or the Grabbies Falls in the Karoo, or even the Daisies in Springbok. Those are natural endowments that we really want to have amplified and resonate with people, because it's not always going to be the case that you be able to organically just experience rawness in its nature, because we're also one of the provinces that has not been yet industrialized, and where that starts really happening, certain corners and places will not be authentically the same. So we need to try and see how best we can symbiotically coexist by enhancing on the tourism experience while we're looking at obviously other economic opportunities, as it were. So there is that fine balance that we are hoping to achieve. I think the other element that was sort of raised quite tremendously is that the sky that you get to experience when you're in the Northern Cape from an astrotourism perspective, it's something that really rivals what you find anywhere in the world. And that's why the launch of the strategy was also embedded from a provincial perspective in Carnarvon. And for us, it's one of those things that we really want to hold dear to us as an offer, and we want to leverage and amplify the offer, as it were. Thanks.
And I'm hoping that the travel Indaba itself is starting to really embed some of the evidence of what's possible and the collaboration from one space to the other, because there's impact that you have in a community, Carol, where you're running your operation. Maybe unpack what does that mean for the community, for the people around you. How does it start to lift up the community that you are in? And if there's more of you, that is amplified, but what kind of economic benefit can you relate to us?
When Siberi started, we were employing 2 people. This is like 8 years ago. We currently employ 18 people. So for me, that is a big achievement to the community of Phokeng. And most of the people that we employ are the youth, and they are women. And these are the people that had no clue what hospitality is all about. So we train the youth to become employable. Obviously, you want people to grow in life. And other than that, we work very closely with our communities, our recycling heroes. So we always put our waste aside for them to come and pick it up. So twice a week, they come and collect. So that those that collect cans, those that collect bottles, so they just hoot at the gate, they open, they go to our waste bins, where they're separated, and they take that. We also support one of our orphanages. So when we have events or when we have any leftovers, we take that to our orphanage. We also support our clinic. So my therapist, once a month, they go out to the clinic to offer massages because, you know, our queues are quite long. So that's one of part of our community service. And I must say, nobody gets lost. I mean, a village is a village. As you know, signage is one of the biggest issues that we have in the country. So the locals know where Tiberi is. They bring our clients to us. And one of the things that the team also does, they go to schools to give a little bit about careers in the hospitality, to tell them who they are, what they are doing, and all that. So it's, I mean, if we grow hospitality in the villages and all that, I mean, the impact is massive. You know, I mean, as small as I am, to employ 18 people, I mean, it's, imagine if we had 10 Siberis in Phuket, you know?
And Tato, that leads to the very question, you know, based on Carol's conversation is, do you see scale happening? Do you see duplication happening? You know, have you had the time to track the data and not only look at impact, but look at how impact leads to impact, how another business can be born out of another business because of just her starting her establishment in a localized community?
Yeah, you know, the exciting thing is, like I mentioned, one of our roles is value chain development and strengthening of the value chain. And this is the opportunity that people like Carol are bringing, where they are able now to connect with tour operators within our intra-trade platforms, where they are now able to connect with people that do other services, and therefore strengthening the value chain and making sure that the rent circulates within the previously marginalized communities. This is something that exciting. Something that we are also doing as Satovito is assisting business in terms of access to digital markets. One of the things that we've done is a Google workshop, which is something we will be doing again, where we are assisting businesses to be able to be located on Google's. You know, like sometimes our villages don't have street names, but if I can have Carol's B&B in Phuket on Google, it makes it easy for you to track it. So we are also facilitating that information to make sure that we utilize digital information or technology for businesses to be able to be found, seen, and integrated in the fourth industrial revolution. So these are some of the exciting things that Satovito is doing in making sure that there's access to information, access to opportunity. The work that we are doing with the Tourism Grading Council in terms of the BQV. This is something that we were always advocating for, to say there is a challenge of grading of businesses that want to enter that space. I have a 4-room house. I don't have money to grade as a 1-star, a 2-star. Where do I start? And I'm happy that, you know, Bronwyn and the team thought about the BQV. Bronwyn approached us and said, Tato, here's an opportunity. Let's collaborate. BQV is there. Let's get the businesses, you know, just basic verification so that they're registered. We can identify them, give them market to access, give them opportunity in terms of information and how to actually grade and upscale their services. So there's always those opportunities that we are seeing. So in terms of linear growth of the value chain, there's positive growth through the intertrade platform that we've created as Satovito and the conference that we usually host in November, which is the intertrade, the Township and Village Tourism Intertrade Conference. Then in terms of scaling, remember, we just came from COVID. So 2 years or 3 years for businesses to actually recuperate is very hard. But like I said, the exciting thing is that the businesses are still there. They are still servicing the market. Yes, there are those small numbers that are scaling up. But remember, a lot of businesses now need to make up for the loss of income for the past 2-3 years. And that one is very difficult because a lot of businesses were therefore operating on loans and so forth to sustain themselves. So with the partnerships that we are coordinating with the Department of Tourism, access to finance, Tourism Equity Fund, we fought We said they must bring it back. The minister listened to us. She paid off AfriForum. Now the Tourism Equity Fund is back. We now need to make sure that we capacitate the businesses to access that fund so that they can scale up. I would love to have your B&B, 5-star B&B in Soweto one time, Carol?
Yeah, you've got a challenge there. Hey, I mean, you're going to be a franchise now, competing with the Hiltons, right? Moving it into Soweto. Bronwyn, I think, he's raised for me an element around scaling, but also best practice. So in the work that you're doing, you get to lift yourself up and also look at what's worked anywhere else on the continent. And we've got a lot of representation today sitting here and sharing what they're doing in their communities. Have you been able to look at the economic impact and how do we take some of the learned experiences and bring them back home for local impact?
Zanetta, we do a lot of global benchmarking. And I'm very proud to say that the Tourism Grading Council of South Africa, which is now 25 years old this year, we are celebrating being 25. It's a coming of age. We have evolved. We have benchmarked globally. And we can confidently say that we are head and shoulders on par and above in most circumstances. So when a consumer travels to South Africa and they know they're getting a 5-star experience, they know what to expect and they are delighted. But more than that, I think the innovation that we are showing in recognizing homestays and basic quality verification is critical to grow our economy. And we stand head and shoulders above other countries. In other countries, homestays are sort of a home sharing option, whereas we are promoting a homestay as a cultural experience. And I think when you asked me earlier about sustainability, we don't just look at efficiency in terms of energy consumption. We don't just look at it in terms of sustainable practices. We look at it as part of our people. Sustainability is ultimately about traveling and leaving the place you visit in a better condition than what you found it. And that is the people, the communities, and the environment. And by engaging with the community, purchasing from the community, not products that are created or manufactured somewhere else, but from the community, understanding the culture, eating their food, eating the produce that they have grown themselves, it changes the dynamic of tourism for the better.
And I think when I've traveled in the continent, the ability to stay in a place where people are living their daily lives is probably the most exciting thing, even for me. So I can actually understand the appeal now that I think about it. And you lose that when you're staying outside of the communities. How do we, from a South African perspective, and if I think about it, if I stayed anywhere else, I would have the same experiences that I would have in South Africa. But how are we managing, and Sean, this is a tough one, especially in the Northern Cape and actually all across, infrastructure, electricity, water, how are we helping communities and homestay spaces to be well equipped to deal with the challenges and still give a great experience to a tourist?
Yeah, it is a very difficult one, but I think there's a fine balance in terms of how you integrate the mainstream with what you would ordinarily dub as an emerging market. So your township experiences and sort of those authentic experiences are emerging markets. How do we create that dovetail so that where there's massive developments that are coming on stream that are able, and if you like, enabling sort of a sustainable way of development. Let me just make an example. For instance, in the Richtersveld, we have a massive project that is coming on stream that is looking at leveraging on renewable energy and so forth. And that's another competitive advantage, so a leverage point for us as a province. Now, we use that as a caveat to start enhancing what the municipality is able to offer to the community. And that sort of circulates in a way that enhances the experience and how each of these SMMEs can then sort of integrate into the broader ecosystem. So now you have a touch point where there's sustainable energy that is coming on stream. The lights won't be off because of load shedding. I think maybe it's the sore point now because we just got reintroduced to load shedding again from yesterday, I think. But some of the things we need to try and look at how best we'll be able to integrate solution options that are coming from the mainstream and how they'll assist sort of emerging markets and create that authentic experience. In certain areas, we'd want to have load shedding in the province because of the beautiful skies. when everything is dark, it looks so tremendous. So I think there's certain opportunities within some of the challenges that are prevailing, but ordinarily if you like, I think municipalities will have certain programs that are being run. Our departments are doing certain programs. We as an entity are also trying to mainstream certain programs to enhance sort of experiences with the nurturing and cultivation of SMMEs in the respective areas that we're saying is going to enhance township experiences, if you like. So with that said, I think it's a confluence of various actors that need to come into stream in order to be able to prove that a sustainable solution is then attained.
I'm appreciating so much how you're combining the fact that, yes, there are solutions that can be put into place, but there's also a story and a narrative that goes with our environment and our current environment. And Carol, that speaks to Phokeng. I mean, what a beautiful story, and what a beautiful legacy, that your establishment is situated in. How do you bring it in? So for tourists who are coming in, how do you bring in that authentic experience, that history? Are they interested? Do they ask? And how do you plug them in so that they walk away and they've got stories to tell?
The beauty about Siberi is that we employ the Bafokeng. Most of my employees are like 90% of them, the local girls. And from when the customers come in, greet in local language. The chefs that we have, they always ensure that one of our welcome drinks, it's obviously our own home brewed, in-house brewed drink. And we also offer them the well-known sorghum fermented Botswana porridge. So we ensure that when they leave having experienced the Botswana, the Bafokeng food, cuisine. So that's one of the things that the team does very well. And we also give the history of Siberi in the rooms, where we started, who we are, and a little bit of history around the Bafokeng, because the Bafokeng have got a very strong history and heritage. For who made the Bafokeng is the Bafokeng people that went to go work in Kimberley to go and come back. Whatever they earned, they took it back home to go buy the land. And that land, luckily, the platinum was discovered. So Bafokeng's got very, very rich history. It's a beautiful, beautiful village. And when people leave, they're like, oh, we did not know this. Luckily, I got married that side. And when I got there, I was like, village that looks like this. It's a very beautiful village. They invest back into the community, the Bafokeng people. So, yes. So everybody lives there very well enriched about who the Bafokeng is and who we're all about. Thank you.
And I think it's the same story. It's different stories, but all of them really rich. Speaking about Soweto, how many years ago did we have the backpackers route established in Soweto? We had the biking route. We have the restaurants along the way. How long does it take, and how many more of these these chains are we going to see of just being able to just travel through and live in and experience an entire space? Are you seeing more evolution? We spoke about Vilakazi Street. It's been there for a very long time. We need to see more of those coming up, and are you seeing them? Are you seeing them evolving and watching them over time?
Look, Manzi, the second most, in terms of stats, the second most reason people come to South Africa after the landscape is culture. And South Africa is 9 provinces. And all these provinces have 9 different majoring cultures. You go to the northwest, is the Botswana culture. You go to Limpopo, you've got the Venda and the Limpopo and the Pedi culture. You go to Gauteng, you've got us. You go to KZN, Upeta Bagwazulu. And then you go to Eastern Cape, you've got Upeta Abanta Maxhosa, that side Tetting and so forth. So, Sate Takaloku.
We are
Toglish. So South Africa already is ready is already diversified in terms of what it's offering. Northern Cape, I don't want to miss you out. You know, you've got the Khoi, which is the original people of the country. So it's very exciting as South Africa. So we are now in a state where we now need to package those cultures, go deep into those cultures. The Bafokeng culture or tribe is a tribe of the Botswanas. Am I correct, right? So, and within that tribe of Botswanas, you've got other tribes that have so much to offer. When I travel around, I like to experience Mkomboti. Can I tell you something? Mkomboti doesn't taste the same across the country. It doesn't. Like when you go to Basotho's, it's got its own flavor. And you go to Baxhosa's, it's got its own flavor. Because the natural herbs that they utilize across the country are not the same. So even the outcome is not the same. How they manufacture it is not the same. So South Africa currently has a lot more to offer. We are sitting on the new gold. We are sitting on the new diamonds. I understand the natural resources, but the biggest asset that South Africa currently has is its people. It's its culture. And as Satovito, we cannot wait to unleash what we have to offer. Look at this beautiful room. Look at these people that are sitting here. Most of them are South Africans, are Africans, different cultures, backgrounds. And this is what we have to offer to the world. And like I know, Bronwyn, we always talk about this. We can't wait to actually, get people to find their joy in South Africa. And that's what Satovito is here to assist, achieve.
Thank you so much for laying the land of the South African culture and the richness. And Brian, I'm not sure if there's a star that's allocated based on its people. So if you're vetting and you're creating a rating system, is the people and how fantastic they are, giving you at least a star? Question one. But two, I think what I really want to talk to is we are also in a continent where probably this type of diversification in one area multiplies depending on which country you go to. Is there an opportunity for the whole of the continent to start to just leverage this as a stream? Because if you go to the complexity and the richness of the African people across is probably so big and so complex. Are you keeping an eye on that opportunity?
Zanele, to answer your first question, there is an index. It's called the Customer Satisfaction Index. When people leave the country, we do a survey at the airport. Some of you who are foreign visitors to South Africa, when you leave the airport now on your way home, please give us a good rating. We have got an excellent rating on our customer satisfaction of 4.6 out of 5. It's incredibly high, and we have ambitions to move that even higher in the next 5 years. And that is people literally rating their experience in South Africa when they're departing, and we monitor it very, very closely. So there is a score on our people. And then, to speak to, positioning South Africa and positioning Africa, we cannot succeed without our brothers and sisters. So our global brand campaign is all about, South Africa awaits, come find your joy. It is absolutely in all of us.
You're so good at those. Every year I come, I'm just blown away by the taglines. We'll speak later about who the agency is that comes up with them. Sean, we are going to run out of time, and I just want to give you the opportunity to just wrap up for us what your key ambitions are. 5 years from now, what would you have wanted to achieve?
It's for people to experience the Northern Cape. Short. So I think, as mentioned, for us it's quite a diverse grouping of people, and we've got large tracts of land that needs to be traversed by many. And we think because we are the province that represents about 2.2 of the population in South Africa, we need to enhance that. I mean, when we go out into the globe, I've been to Germany, I've been to Japan, and also we're about the same size of Japan. There's 80 million people in Germany, 140 in Japan. We just that little. And we need to make sure that people get to authentically experience how this province will evolve and become the new growth point for South Africa in many facets. And I think tourism is going to be one of the key cornerstones. I do think that within the next 5 years, and we're hoping to also position a port that will start attracting a different type of audience, if you like, from a maritime tourism perspective. And that sort of just enhances on the product offer. Furthermore, it's about how you get to organically experience the beauty and the different authentic experience of the Pixley Kaseme area, which is one of the areas that I've really haven't really spent much time in terms of ventilating what that one has to offer. But I think everywhere you go, in each corner of the province, we want to just enrich and enhance what we already have in place and how we can sort of cultivate SMMEs and have also a number of Tsiberries coming on stream with 5-star ratings like Bronwyn is giving out. Thanks.
And the ability to find that. I mean, I think that it needs to be easy for the international tourist to find that journey and to find that roadmap. And maybe Bron, close off for us later on around, ease of navigating and finding. When we hear it, we're fascinated, but we need to be able to find it. Speaking about findability, how do you make sure that you are found, Carol? Because the ability for you to attract visitors should not be solely on your hands. What are you doing? But what else needs to be done? And what is being done to lift up your type of establishment?
I must say one of the important things that I found was the support that we get from South African tourism. And being here, it's one of the things that exposes us to the world, to be findable, because we're making a lot of relationships with the tour guides from all over the world. So this is one of the biggest opportunities. And we also very much listed on the online travel agents. So that has given us a lot of international exposure. And being graded is one of the most important things that I found has made us very legit, and people know what to expect, the quality and all that. So overall, I must say I'm very grateful for all the opportunities that Siberi has gotten from Tourism Grading Council, from South African tourism as a whole, and they've been very supportive. And for us to be here, we're actually sponsored by the small business enterprise. Now it's known as SIVDA. So we've gotten a lot of opportunities to be here, and we are growing. And above all, I'm sure many did not know where Phokeng is. I'm sure we're going to get a whole lot of you coming over to come and experience authentic, rural, villages tourism at its best. And thank you.
It's Tiberi, T-S-H-I.
Tiberi, yes.
And then B-E-R-I.
The berry, yes.
Yeah, Tiberi. So good, so I'm hoping also that our viewers can log in and find you and pin you until they come visit. Now, South Africa is also very well known for its creators of materials, of content, arts, drama, music. How does this sector, maybe leaning into travel and tourism, do you look at that sector and create opportunities for them to thrive again in a space that everywhere else in the world, travel tourism is very much linked to arts and culture? Are you seeing the relationship grow and lift that industry up as well?
Yeah, within our identified subsectors in Satovito, arts, craft is also an identified subsector because we find that it's important. One, some people come here and then they want to wear those beautiful beads that you are wearing. And that's a contribution to the aesthetic of what we have to offer. You look at the beautiful attire that Carol is wearing. This is a representation of the Botswana culture. You will mostly see it in the northern spaces of Southern Africa and so forth. So we've identified it as one of the critical things that needs to also be developed. So attracting the Department of Arts and Culture is part of one of our strategic objectives for the year, to make sure that the Department of Arts and Culture comes on board and we are able to develop that subsector so that we are able to, create more made in South Africa products, which is something that a lot of our artists are struggling from. They are not properly supported to supply the demand, so you find that some of the crafters or whatsoever, or let's say the craft retailers end up having to import products made from outside of the country. But however, one thing that is exciting is that there are a lot of arts and craft designers and fashion designers that are in Southern Africa that are now populating the market. I know Mam Esther Mahlangu's work is beautiful. It's an internationally renowned work. We will know a lot of artists that are now, doing a lot of work. The art tours are now on huge demand. Having to explore what South African artists have to offer. I know Cape Town is killing it with that one, and so forth. So the one challenge that we will be focusing on, or that we need to focus on, is strengthening production of our local arts and craft subsector. And I'm hoping that sooner or later, maybe by next year, the Department of Arts and Culture will form part of our discussions so that we are able to fast track that. But I'm excited that South Africa already in itself, in terms of culture, it is resembling in how we dress, in how we walk, in how we talk, and how we eat, and so forth.
And we've got a great formula. The products are beautiful, but are we doing enough? Right? Are we doing enough? And also, and I was going to say, we've also got the Springboks. We've also got Chiefs and Pirates, right? Are we doing enough to utilize all these fantastic things that we're doing in the country? And I'm not going to speak to Cape Town. They had the race, Formula One race. But are we doing enough with the stadiums, Moses Mabhida, and all of those things to really lift up what South Africa has to offer for pertinent events and offerings?
Zanetta, I think there's always opportunity to innovate and do better. We are having the right conversations, as you can hear from the panel that we've had today, the right conversations are being had. We are moving from tourism sector recovery to growth. And I think it's really critical that the 1,200 exhibitors we have here are given the opportunity to meet our over 9,000 delegates at the show. And I think that is something that is so important to appreciate. There are over 24,000 meetings happening at the show over these few days. And we're going to have firm relationships. We're going to be developing new product. As we're walking across the floor, we're seeing people meeting with people they've never met before, developing new routes, developing new experiences, and really working where the opportunities are. And yes, I think we can always improve on how we produce our experiences, but I think it's a very, very good sign that we're having such a productive show here at Africa's Travel Indaba.
And that being said, we've got to go down to money as well. Are we extracting enough of the dollars of people who are coming in? Are we extracting enough, of the money that comes in? When we travel, you get off at the port and you are swamped by traders right at the port. You're buying a lot of local stuff, and there's so much localization of content. Again, and let me maybe pose that question to you. What is it that we need to do to just elevate the product and the pride and make sure that we're selling and we make sure people are leaving with empty wallets?
Hey, mine is already empty, but yeah, be that as it may. I think I just want to latch on to what Tato was saying. I think there's certain key areas of confluence, stakeholder, if you like, integration that needs to happen for that specific element to come to life. When you come to such platforms as SMMEs that are being brought up here, you need to make sure that you are having a type of quality product that is being sold that links up with the type of tourism experience that you are giving, together with the food that has been sort of on offer. And so it's like a whole ecosystem that you need to think about. So perhaps it's an issue of also enhancing on the various stakeholders that play in the space. It's not only a tourism issue. He's indicated that there's an element of sports, arts and culture that needs to come on stream. I'm also of the view that the Department of Small Business Development, with the confluence or interface with SMME in what they offer, how do we enhance on that product offer so that it becomes part of the circular economic opportunity that goes with tourism? And then obviously for us as an investment promotion agency that is currently now given the responsibility to really market the province, how do we spend enough rands to really ensure that the positioning of each of the experiences that are on offer are really brandished everywhere? So the marketing element needs to be strengthened, and you don't really want to just wait for such platforms to be able to do that. And I think the integration with sort of the 4IR way of doing it, and I think I was in Abu Dhabi not too long ago, and I got to experience 4.5 IR ad play with Gen AI coming on stream, and how we use those sort of platforms to just further enhance the sort of offer that is in play, and how you entrench that into how people do their sort of day-to-day business and amplify on the product offer in various ways, if you like. The grading part of it, I know you're looking at the issue of getting stars, but the other stars is even on social media and how people really rate the experience that has been given, and that resonates with so many different audiences, and it amplifies what you are be able to achieve. So I think a diverse marketing, if you like, an integration of key stakeholders to make sure that it gives you that one sort of South African authentic experience, yes.
And I think that's the next panel for next year, is an integrated panel of all the departments that can influence us. Carol, I've got enough time for one more question. It's bothering me that you spoke about knowing nothing about the hospitality industry, that even the people you hired didn't know. I thought we were quite advanced in terms of, what do you call it in high school? Tourism or hospitality. Are you saying there's more work that needs to be done in training young people to be able to work in the space?
There's always room for training. And there's more that still needs to be done, I must say. And I think that's one of the challenges that I still find today, is like finding people that are already skilled and trained. So most of the times we have to start from scratch and train the people. But it's good, you know. But other than that, I mean, I knew nothing about tourism because I come from a completely different background. So that's why I found it quite challenging on my side.
Something that needs to be elevated, you know, the basics of that space, easy to access. Tato, any closing comments from you before I close the panel?
Yes, I think it's very important that we start to narrate and send a message out to the world and Africa, the African market and the world, that South Africa is safe, guys. Something that is concerning now with us is the current 2949 people that left South Africa and this is bad because of they're selling the country in a negative way. It's very important that we start to inform the country and we inform all the visitors that South Africa is safe, and they must not fall for the negative narration. We know that we went through 90s, the 80s, and so forth, and there was 1994 and 1996, and we chose that we will not be fighting with other races. In fact, we are going to build a better South Africa. So it's important that as South African, to secure our economy, we must also have a response and tell the world that South Africa is a very safe space. South Africa is a place of opportunities. We have created a lot of billionaires. Even the Elon Musk of this world were made in South Africa, and they must also acknowledge that, you know. So it's that's my parting shot, that, guys, South Africa is safe. The townships and villages of this country are safe. Let's not panic. Can we kindly inform everybody that South Africa is welcoming, and they must come here to find their joy.
It's actually a marketing strategy to send them over, and then they actually realize what they've lost. And when they come back, we've got this brilliant marketing value proposition. They'll come back slimmer, wiser. It's a great plan.
We will send Kumbule Kaya then.
Yes, we'll send Kumbule Kaya to go fetch them. We have a special program for those who get lost, the lost sheep. Great marketing. Speaking of great marketing, anything for you that you want to highlight before we close?
Zanele, I just want to thank everybody that has been at the show and making it a success. Please go on to have fabulous meetings. And for those who are watching from home, from their offices, tourism is here to stay. Please support everyone in your local community as far as tourism goes. Thank you.
And Sean, for me, social media. People love to profile where they go, and they're showing us bridges and backgrounds that we don't recognize. Bring them home, right? What pictures need to be taken and posted on Instagram to show that you're living the life?
Pictures of everything. For me, I'm looking forward to a Durban curry tonight. When I came last night, I was extremely exhausted, and I was like, I'm not going to try it tonight, because you don't want to do it when you're not feeling at your best. So today, definitely, I'll be experiencing a very nice Durban curry bunny chow, the hottest one. And if I can find a mango lassi to go with that, that will be sort of, for me, the
An
be all and
Instagram
end all. Yeah.
moment.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And again, speaking to yourself, all of us living the authentic experience and hopefully visiting Tiberi. Your parting shot.
Come enjoy the Royal Bafokeng hospitality at Tiberi. We've got more to offer. Thank you.
Let's give our panel a round of applause. It's been an incredible conversation. I hope that you've enjoyed it. And I hope that our listeners and those who are watching on CNBC Africa have also found the conversation very engaging. It's 2025, always one of the best Indabas I get to attend. I'll see you next year where we give you an overview of developments continent-wide with a beautiful local deep dive into what South Africa and all the provinces within have to offer. I'm Zanella Morrison. It's been fantastic being with you. Thank you so much for joining us.